Hello and welcome back to Football Pundits podcast for our lively and weekly discussions on all things football. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our videos and follow us on our social media handles. Welcome to all our panelists, Kshitij, Rishabh, and Anshuman. Nice to have you guys. Today let's start with the news which UEFA has announced recently, which is of which is of the away goals being scrapped. So, what are your thoughts on that specifically? I mean, now that the competition looks more evenly poised, given that the away goals are not going to matter anyway, how the tactics are going to change, and what exactly do you think will be teams like Chelsea who actually progressed based on away goals a lot in like against Real Madrid and everything. So,
Like
do
not
you
just
think these
Chelsea, like a lot of like in the history of Champions
I'm
League, like
counting. You don't have to pounce on Chelsea's question right away, but I'm just saying that because Chelsea progressed into the finals based on that against Real Madrid. So that's my point.
the
Yeah,
But yeah,
history of
let's
Champions
start.
League would be different a lot
Yeah,
with this away goal fixture going away goal tactic because it has been a legacy of Champions League that there are two legs where one in the first leg you have to play cautiously, or if you have scored a goal then you have to think about how fit my team is for the second leg. What do we have to do? Do we have to field a defensive formation, or do we need an attacking formation? So with this away goal rule going away, I think it's just as similar as a league game now. I mean, of course there are two legs that are still there, but again the tactic is not that much methodological. It's more approachable. Like that you have to score or outscore that team to get to the next stage. There is no else tactic anymore used in this particular Champions League anymore. So yeah, I think it is a new era for Champions League. It is gonna be a bit difficult for a team to adjust because we play a continental football. You go to Besiktas, you go to Budapest, you have a lot of traveling to do while you are playing two legs. So winning that first leg, you have a lot of things in your head, because if you are traveling away, then and you have an if you are traveling away, then you have to field a more attacking team because you have to get that away goal advantage. Now they don't have that anymore. So it's like if you have scored in the home leg and the other team has scored in the away leg as well, it's not going to make a difference. You have to come into the other leg to just score, to outscore the team and get away from the result. Like, so I think it's as simple as that. The away goal rule goes away. The teams are now more attack focused rather than playing more tactically.
okay. So my thought on this is something that the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it, right? Away goals has been one of the biggest reason that brings a lot of excitement into the Champions Leagues and Europa League games, right? So, like for example, I'm going to take an example from Manchester United, the Paris game. So the Paris game was one of the most exciting games for Manchester United fans in recent history because we were able to equalize at the very last minute, and because of that away goals rule, we were able to progress. So that in itself brings a lot of enthusiasm to the games. So now the allure of away goals becomes a lot less, right? So the first leg might become a little tacky because both the teams would try to not concede any goals. The home team would definitely try to score more goals, but the allure that the away team would try to hit them on the counter attack, sit back and soak the pressure, and take that precious away goal in the second leg, that completely goes out of the window. So a lot more pressure would now come to the second leg games because that in itself would have to become a lot more like attack minded, which might help the game. But again, this would be difficult for like smaller teams because those are the kind of teams like the underdog teams who try to fight for the away goals. They try to hit a single away goal and try to ensure that they are able to uh, watch out the lead in the second leg. So that is something that it might cause problem to smaller teams, but I don't think away goals, like taking off away goals, is a good step from UEFA.
So, I mean, usually we've always seen players criticizing UEFA where they do not care or consider a lot of players' thoughts or feelings in that aspects where the amount of matches they have to play. With the new UEFA plan, which is already being in place, which is going to increase the number of teams from 23 or 24 season. That in itself is saying that there'll be 100 more matches, and Gundogan was very vocal about the fact that the players will have to play a lot more. Fatigue will increase, muscle injuries will increase. With this rule itself, now you know that there'll be a lot of matches which will be going beyond 90 minutes in the second leg itself, and obviously there is a big chance of teams not playing the first half of the first leg with more intent to close out the game itself, or you might see that as well. But there is a possibility where people where the tactics will come into play, and the first leg will be a lot more boring compared to the second leg. So Rishabh, do you think that what do you think about the fatigue of the players which is going to come into play, and how much the squad depth will come into play, where teams like Chelsea and City, who definitely have a lot of squad depth compared to the rest of the competition, do you think they'll have a much needed advantage or a bigger advantage in these kind of competitions now going forward?
I mean, it's the same. I mean, there's no change, right? There's no change in the number of matches or anything like that. So it's
Not
still going to
now,
remain.
but in the future it will be.
Yeah, in the future it will be, yes. So I understand from that perspective, but like talking about the away goal rule system, if the away goal rule system was going away, why do we need two matches? I don't understand the reason then. We don't need to have two matches. It's the same thing what UEFA, and I don't really understand the UEFA and at the FA systems, because the FA also plays the the two-legged ties in the Carabao
That's
Cup
EFL.
semi-finals.
EFL, yeah.
The EFL, sorry, the EFL.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand why there is a need to do that. Like, you just make sure you just do an FA Cup kind of semi-final at a Wembley or at a neutral stadium. You go and play there. I don't understand, if the away goal is gone away, why do we need two matches? I don't
See,
understand.
because I think if that's the case, then they have to be a neutral ground to play
Yeah.
that one single match.
Yeah,
If
just
because
if,
otherwise, if a team is playing in their home, then the other team who's playing away needs to get the right to play in their home as well, right? If they're playing the single fixture together. But if
I think
the ground is neutral, then I'm all okay with just one match. Then I don't
It
see
is-
any.
it's
I
the same
think
thing, Anshuman, right? And like when you do a Carabao Cup or when you do a FA Cup draw, it's the same thing. If Manchester United gets picked up first and they have to play against a team called Wimbledon, they have to play at home. And if it can also happen the other way around, Manchester United might have to go to Wimbledon to play, right? So it's all based on draws. I think when we were talking about this 2023 season, like, two months ago when we were discussing this, I said the same thing. I don't really know why do we need two games if there are going to be so many games. And I still said that, yeah, you can do it by the draw. There is no reason. There is no reason if there is no away goal system. What I think is just about generating money. That's it. That's all I think about.
yes.
That you
Absolutely.
want the home fans. Obviously, like I think you guys said, a game like Portugal, a game like Porto versus Sevilla, nobody's gonna watch it. Even if it's at a neutral stadium, nobody's gonna go watch it because there's no big name players over there. I don't care. We won't watch it. Even at home, we probably won't watch it. Right? We would probably focus on a
The
Barca
local
versus
fans
Juve.
would. Local fans. The local club
I mean, yeah,
supporters would
obviously
watch
the
it,
local
right?
fans
Yeah, I'm
would,
just
the
saying that,
local
like, but
supporters,
you need like that. That's the that's what football is based on, right? Like home support, right?
Hmm.
So, but what I'm trying to say is that maybe you just do a draw system still, and whoever gets picked up first, they play at home. That's the draw advantage, right? That's like
But
just
then, but that's the draw advantage. But then that also gives a lot of disadvantages to a lot
To
of
the team,
smaller
yes.
teams, right? Who know that if you go to Russia, if Manchester United or Chelsea or City goes to Russia at the particular peak of time where there is winter and in England it's not. So of course the Russian team have an advantage. But again, even if they score, they are going to come to Old Trafford. They are going to come to Stamford Bridge to face another match where where a team like Chelsea gets a chance. I'm not. If you forget about the bigger teams, if let's talk about Shakhtar or let's talk about Porto. Even Porto is a bigger team right now, like Shakhtar or Dynamo Kiev. These kind of teams. they require those away and home fixtures to actually understand and actually like mold their squad according to the Champions League schedules that they have. Yeah, they don't have those elongated fixtures like Premier League or any other big league because probably their start date is a bit late than us and their end date is a bit early because probably they don't have. I think those lot of teams. I think uh, what the I think the Netherlands league has what 17 or 16 teams, I guess, in
Yeah.
total. So you can see like that is what is required for them to go ahead, and if they don't do that, probably from a revenue perspective, down the line, if they're not getting the bigger teams to come to their home ground, probably by down the line they might start losing revenue. They might start losing the stature of a club, and God forbid they might cease to exist at one point of time because the away because even that is why a lot of friendlies also happen in foreign countries or in USA so that these smaller clubs generate that kind of money with the big fan coming in, a big team coming in. So I think just completely disregarding the away and home fixtures, I think that is not the way to go from my perspective. I completely understand where you're coming from because if there is no away goal, then it is actually pointless. I can completely. It's actually pointless to play two
No,
games
no.
where
I mean, I get your perspective as well. It's
yeah.
totally agreeable. Yeah,
But I think
I'm just
what
saying,
I
yeah,
see
yeah,
is as an overall global football
yeah.
conglomeration, there you see that these kind of fixtures are pretty required
Yeah.
to
No, no,
generate money for them.
I think I completely agree with you on that as well. Like, I feel like it's if obviously we're not going to see this away, these two-legged ties go away. This is not going to happen by UEFA. Always going to stay there because that's like the format of the Champions League.
And
But
also, I think if they're
just
making
to
a change, yeah, continue.
ju-
I'll add it later.
just to reduce the number of games and reduce the number of injuries because yes, we've had we just completed a pandemic hit season. We started late, and I at one point of time got bored. Like every week there was midweek game. Every week, almost every other week. I've never seen that. Like UEFA Champions League games were 3 consecutive weeks in a row, right? Like I never seen that. Like it was always like 1 and then 2 weeks break or 2 3 weeks break and then they used to come back. So it's too much on players. Like right now, still okay, are there only going to be 32 teams, but from 2 years down the line when 48 teams are there, like it's crazy. It's crazy that you have to you have to and what Anshuman said, you have to travel. You have to travel to like Budapest or Russia or like even smaller countries like Macedonia or some country. It's difficult. You go on a Wednesday and come back and then play against a Chelsea side. You play against a Man City side. It's difficult. It takes a toll on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I was actually reading that this Euro 2020 is actually recording one of the lowest viewerships as well because there's a football saturation at this point in everybody's mind. I guess not everybody is watching all the games or even one or two games as well. I've spoken to at least 10 to 15 people who've said that they mainly watch highlights or not even watch the highlights. They're just following the scoreline right now.
Yeah.
Because that's the amount of football which is being played at this stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's see if there are any future developments in this topic itself because you never know. Obviously, this away goals scrapping has been going on for a few years. There've been a lot of discussions and a lot of boardroom meetings for UEFA itself. So
And
let's see
also,
if
I
there are.
think that scrapping the away goal and then also scrapping the two legs, I think that would have been a bit too much for the change suddenly. I think that
Yeah.
would have skipped a pretty big landscape. So
Yeah.
I think they might come to, when they come to the senses because I think for one season everybody is waiting to see how this rule is gonna either help the teams or like or probably the teams are also gonna come up after 1 year to give their disapproval or approval for this kind of thing. So all we can see is like wait and see what this brings in. It's gonna be a huge change, and I just wish the teams are well prepared because it's gonna take a toll, just like Rishabh said.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, let's talk jump into the next topic for us. So Right now we're going to introduce a new series for ourselves, and we're going to bring these kind of topics on a regular basis for you guys. And obviously, you can mention anything if you have any kind of discussion where you'd like us to point out for any kind of topics which you'd like us to discuss. So the topic which we decided for today is a part of a what if series for us. So we're going to see if these kind of topics are a big hit. We'll definitely keep on continuing if you show us the love and support on these topics. So the topic which we have is if what if Kane and Lewandowski were swapped in their initial years itself between Bayern and Tottenham itself? Do you think both will be scoring at the same rate? And who would be the bigger player at this stage? So Lewandowski joined Bayern Munich in 2014-15 season when obviously Pep was the manager, and if that swap had happened between Kane, who has been a youth academy player for Tottenham and under Pochettino's regime. So if that swap had happened, Pep would have signed his now target Harry Kane at that stage itself. So what kind of seasons would you be seeing? Obviously, starting right away with let's talk about Tottenham and Lewandowski. The partnership would have been very interesting to see because Lewandowski was definitely not that big of a name when he joined Bayern Munich after his 4 years at Dortmund. So, Rishabh, what do you think on that itself?
I think I don't think Lewandowski would have had that much, what is it?
Success.
Not success, but that much. Probably that much success with Spurs that's Harry Kane showed. He's if you look at his stats between 2016 to 2018, I think he scored 25, 29, and 30 goals. I don't think Lewandowski would
And
have done that because
I
Harry
think
Kane.
Lewandowski scored probably just 15 or 16 goals in his first Bundesliga season with Bayern Munich.
Yeah, he scored
2014-15
70. Yeah,
season.
he scored 70. But that's fine. I'm not comparing the seasons by season. I'm just saying he would have not had that much, success with what he has here. Because I mean, Lewandowski is good, but he's an out and out striker from what I see. Right? He will give you goals. He will give you, and that, I'm not taking anything away from Harry Kane. But Lewandowski has, given a different level to the number 9. He has surpassed from what we also think as a number 9, right? In the recent years, at least.
Yeah.
Harry Kane has a lot more attributes to his game. He can do he can pass, and he can do all other kind of things with the ball. Lewandowski cannot. Lewandowski just shows you I am the greatest striker of all time, and that's what he gives you. He gives you 30 to 40 goals every season.
And
So
obviously you have to take
if
into account that there's a 4 5 year difference between Harry Kane and
four five
Lewandowski.
5 year difference, and then if you see 25, 29, 30 goals, like I mentioned in those seasons, he did not have a lot of players what Lewandowski had with him. He
Exactly.
had Omen,
Exactly.
Costa, Ribery, Robin, all these kinds of players around him.
Yeah, it
Right.
matters. It matters
That's
a lot.
right.
And
Definitely matters, yeah. I
And
think
also-
sorry, but one last point. The only 2 players that I can see Spurs having that success was Eriksen and Ali at that point of time, where they were coming up, and they were. I mean, Eriksen was probably already established. Ali was still
Yeah.
coming up, but he had those wonder seasons in the 2017-18 or something. Yeah, those seasons. So.
But yeah, again,
So,
I guess Kshitij, you've been quiet for a lot of time, and we're waiting for your wacky opinion on this one because this is a topic where you shine probably. So yeah.
yeah. So wacky is not my strong suit. I think I do
I mean, you
intelligent
in our,
answers.
to give everyone a perspective, you picked Scotland to reach the semi-final in our tournament predictor for Euros. So you have definitely qualify for wacky opinions. So I mean, yeah, let's continue with that.
What's the fun in picking those sides that's actually gonna win? So going to the point. So I think what Rishabh said was right. Robert Lewandowski, if he was in Tottenham, he would score goals. He would still be somewhere close to a 20 goal striker, but he would not be scoring the kind of goals and the number of goals that he's been scoring with Bayern Munich. And similar to that, if Harry Kane was in Bayern Munich, he would be scoring a lot more goals that he's been scoring with Tottenham, but he won't be hitting the numbers that Robert Lewandowski does. because
Yeah.
Robert Lewandowski is an out and out striker. He has only one thing to do on the football pitch, that is to put the ball in the back of the net, and he's damn good at it. Harry Kane gets involved a lot in the game, which means he's not every time available in the box. He takes a lot of shot outside of the boxes and tries to score a bit of fancy goals, which Robert Lewandowski, all he does is you give him the ball, it's close to the net, he'll put that in. So I think if Harry Kane went to Bayern Munich, he will have the variety and the kind of players around him. That in itself, the chance creation increases at least 3 to 4 times when he joins Bayern, right? Because with Tottenham, you do not have the kind of players. You cannot expect the same quality from Lamela and Frank Ribery. So Frank Ribery would be
Exactly.
providing.
Yes.
Yeah.
If Frank
We
Ribery
cannot. There is no justice to comparing Lamela with Robin or Ribery. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's completely
that's
unfair on that.
exactly. So if Ribery is creating somewhere close to 5 chances a game, Lamela won't start that game. That's the kind of difference that they have in their teams, right?
Yeah.
So that is why Harry Kane would be scoring a lot more goals, but Harry Kane would also be creating a lot more goals. So, so where Robert Lewandowski scores a lot more goals and takes care of that burden, Harry Kane would actually be assisting a lot more. So he'll be providing
But
chances to
Yeah.
the likes
I
of
mean,
Thomas
But the
Müller
thing
and
is,
Van
no.
der
But
Sar.
the thing is, but the thing is, you guys keep forgetting, I guess, is that Harry Kane actually started as an out and out striker in 2014-15 season. He
But
was never the
he
well-rounded player you guys are saying right now he is, because of the players he has right now. He doesn't have right now around him. He has evolved as a player, and he has he's become more of a complete player at this stage rather than just being the striker he was. I guess
but
if
Yeah,
we
I
swap
think
them
I
at that
think
stage, I think Kane would have been scoring at the same rate as well, because he would definitely be focusing itself on the striker aspects and
yeah,
not rounding his game at that point. I guess,
yeah.
and maybe even Lewandowski would have changed his style of play at that point and maybe become the exact same things would have been happening right now, where Lewandowski would have been a well-rounded player and Kane would still be the out and out striker at that stage. Because I do
And
I
not
I
see,
think
I
I do
don't
not
believe
see that.
that. I don't believe
I
that.
still, I
yeah,
still
because
think
I agree with Rohil at this point, because I was also thinking about the same thing, that if we take into account first of all the age gap. All right, the first point is the age gap. If Harry Kane goes to Bayern Munich at the age of probably 21,
Yeah.
right, and Lewandowski is has already been a clinical striker with Dortmund when he's going to Spurs, right? Now he goes to Spurs. Okay, first of all, the team also comes into account, which you have already shed your light on. Like, of course, Lamela is not equivalent to Ribery and Robin, right? So they're like in the sense
Lamela is
of
not
creative.
equivalent to Serge Gnabry. Like they don't have any. Tottenham does not have any players in their team.
Yeah, like in the creative sense, Bayern Munich have a huge depth in the creativity compared to Spurs. So when Harry Kane comes in that young breakthrough attribute with him, now you understand that the managers also come into picture a lot in developing young players, right? So Pochettino, he is already getting an established clinical striker. Now, for Pep Guardiola, even though we today know that Harry Kane is the world's probably the second world's best striker, but at one point of time we had no clue. At 21 years of age, all we knew was that he was a youth academy player. He came in FA Cups, he scored, and now today, because Spurs were failing with Soldado and Adebayor, they needed to push the youth player, and they were just giving a trial run with Harry Kane just to see, because of course Soldado was there and he was like invisible for entirety of a season, so they
I
wanted to push
remember
Harry Kane.
Soldado. I remember Soldado from our FIFA nights,
Yeah,
like
yeah, Soldado
in
of the
college.
seasons you were like
Yeah,
consecutive winner
I I
for 2
I was
seasons. Yeah,
able to do pretty well
yeah,
with Tottenham, and Soldado was like part of my
yeah.
team, so I remember that.
So yes, so you see, like the roles are. It's very important for a player to know what role he has to play. He cannot be like just jumbled in his head that I'm gonna be either a striker or I'm gonna push at the attacking midfield at 21 years of age, where you actually have to understand what kind of game you are, what kind of player you are, and how you are gonna develop. Of
yeah,
course, Harry Kane developed himself because his team required him to be that kind of player. Otherwise, if even Spurs had better players or had a better transfer budget with Harry Kane performing the way he is, I don't see Harry Kane playing in coming into the attacking midfield or making the games. And he would have scored the same kind of goals that Lewandowski would have scored in Spurs. But if Harry Kane goes to Bayern Munich at that age, where all he had to do is just get the balls from Robin from one wing and Ribery from one wing. Of course, you also have Philip Lahm. You also have Xavi Alonso
Thomas
at that
Muller.
point of time.
You have Thomas
Yes.
Muller as well.
Thomas Muller also at that point of time. So you have creative midfield so much that you don't have to worry about making the balls. All you have to do is stay at that particular position. You have the height as well. So you can be a target man, you can be a pressing forward, whatever it's. So of course, yeah, I think Harry Kane would have scored a lot of goals, yes.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
I'm
don't.
not. I'm good. Sorry. Good. Come
Yeah, but I am saying that probably Robert Lewandowski would not have scored those kind of. I no, I
He would
might.
not have
I mean to
hit
say
that
that.
number.
Yeah, yeah,
He
that
would not have
particular
hit those
kind of
numbers.
number. Yeah,
Yeah.
that particular kind of number, because it also matters that he was Polish. He went to Germany, where in Poland a lot of people already are known to speak a lot of German languages, whereas there is a huge language barrier between Harry Kane if he goes to Germany. So it's also
Also,
about adaptability as well.
yeah.
How adaptable
Also,
you get into that team.
yeah.
For English players,
Because
it's always very hard for them to adapt in foreign countries. We have seen it in, like, not a lot of English players have gone to foreign land, but we have seen that it's pretty difficult for English players to adapt in foreign conditions.
Yeah.
also, I feel like if Robert Lewandowski came to the Premier League, like the kind of competition Premier League provides, he would have found a lot tougher to score goals in the Premier League.
I
So
mean,
Harry Kane is
that's
able to
a
score
that's a
That is
given.
that is a given.
That is a
That is
given.
an
I mean,
absolute
that
given.
I think that is exactly what I was coming at. Like, even when we are talking about
Physicality.
and physicality and like, even if you see like
physicality, pace.
this season that when it ended, like, he ended with 23 and 14, right? 23 goals and 14 assists. Lewandowski scored 41 goals and I think 7 assists or something. So given how tough is the Premier League, given the share of, and given where Tottenham are,
Hmm.
he's still done incredibly well. I would still say that they've probably had the similar season, like, because he plays in the Bundesliga and they have Bayern, or they are Bayern. They don't really get competition. You don't go to Augsburg and face competition, but if Spurs goes to, let's say even Sheffield United, they will face competition. So it's just that. But I'm just saying, we're talking about, like, if they swapped. I'm just saying still, Lewandowski, based on his finishing, he would still score more goals than Harry Kane. And I'm not taking anything away from Harry Kane. Like, he's a very, very good striker and is a very good finisher. I'm just saying the Lewandowski, as I said, Lewandowski has raised the level of a number 9. What we see, it's
Yeah.
surpassed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, all these are hypothetical, so we'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
But
It's just
all
what if
are-
questions.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe we
it's all our
should
opinion.
now, maybe since Harry Kane is trying to move, maybe Spurs should do a swap deal now. We should message Levy.
But
Hey,
but
try to do
but
this.
I think Harry Kane would have developed a bit better under Pep Guardiola than Pochettino. It's my personal preference.
No,
But
I agree with you. Yeah.
I mean,
That's
he
correct.
today, even if after playing in Bayern Munich, he would have come to Spurs back, I think he would have been like 1 or 2% more developed than he was developed under Pochettino. That
Like,
is what I
I'm
think.
Oh,
not
sorry, you're
sure.
mentioning about Harry Kane if he was playing
Yeah.
under Pep.
Yeah.
That I don't agree with. No,
Because
I feel
take Gabriel
because
Jesus as an example.
yeah, I mean, he's had all these issues with strikers before also.
Like,
He's had issues
so
with Eto. He's had issues with Zlatan, and these are the kind of strikers Harry Kane is, right? And even you see, I don't have the numbers pulled up, but I don't remember if Lewandowski was, like, scoring a lot of more goals under Pep.
let me give you an
so
example.
I think it was
So Pep,
30
I'll,
goals.
and I'll just pull up the numbers in the meantime, so you guys can continue with that. I'll pull
so
up all
Pep
the.
Guardiola has always worked with teams that have had enormous transfer budgets. So anytime they had a striker that was not firing for them, he just bought out a new one. Like he's doing the same thing with Manchester City. So if they have a player who is not performing at any position in their team, they'll just go out and buy a new one. And then people say that he's developing a lot of youngsters and stuff like that. Like Raheem Sterling has had his worst season this year, and they're already looking to move him on. So that's
Yep.
the kind of team that Pep Guardiola builds.
Yeah.
So he's a good manager. There's no doubt about that. He's one of the greatest managers. But
Yeah.
one of the important things that we need to remember is that the kind of turnover of his players that he have, right? So suppose if Ruben Diaz does not perform next season, he'll be looking to move him on to another club, and he'll be
He
bringing
did with
another.
he did with Bravo as well. He got it. He got him
Yes,
as
Yeah. But I think we're
but
deviating.
I think
We're
Yeah, we are
deviating from the
deviating.
topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're not
we're
talking about
deviating
Pep.
from the topic, but so that
it's
is
not
why
Pep
I feel
versus Poch.
if Pep Guardiola had Harry Kane under him, he would have turned him into a great striker, better striker than like Robert Lewandowski.
But you
But
are also saying that it might have been like Harry Kane. If Harry Kane would not have performed one season, his career would not have been what
he would
it
have
is
been
today.
moved on.
Yeah.
Depending whatever career he would have had, he would have been moved on. That is for sure. He will do if Harry Kane's joined from Spurs this season, and he has a bad first season, he has a bad second season. City will
But
look to move on.
another hypothetical question that I came to my head was if Robert Lewandowski would have, I know even without Robert Lewandowski or Harry Kane, Bayern Munich would have won the league out there. But if Robert Lewandowski would have come here, do you think today the history of Spurs would have been a bit different, or do you think they would have suffered the same problems that they are suffering with Harry Kane doing the job?
So one player does not change the entire management that a club has, right? So even if like they had the likes of Gareth Bale and Luka Modric, and Gareth Bale was able to push the team up to the fourth spot. That's the most that he was able to do. But when they sold Gareth Bale, the kind of reinforcement that they got into the team, they were nowhere near the kind of money that they got from Gareth Bale. So like you see the problem with Spurs right now. A guy like Rafa Benitez is preferring to go to Everton over a team like Tottenham.
Because Tottenham hasn't approached him, I believe.
No,
And because
that
he,
is
they know
true. That is true.
because
That
they
is true.
know because they know he's going to reject it.
Yeah, yeah. They've tried with they've tried with Antonio
They have
Conte.
tried with.
I don't.
I was seeing the list. I think I also posted it. I guess that they have like contacted 11 managers as of now.
Yes.
11 managers. And they have got
You can
rejections from
understand
11.
how bad the state of the club is if they are not able to get a manager and they've tried 11, right? I don't understand if you are able to get Conte, you do anything like you tell him.
I don't know.
Again, we are
I
deviating
guess
from
I
the
don't know where
topic.
this
right now,
conversation is going.
right now,
No
right
idea.
now, this
Again,
topic
we
is
are
getting
deviating from the
deviated.
topic. My
Yeah,
question was.
but let me just tell you the numbers, and then maybe we can end this discussion. The thing is, when Lewandowski joined Dortmund, sorry, Bayern Munich, he scored 25 goals overall, with I believe it was 13 assists, and Harry Kane scored 31 goals and 6 assists at that point in the same
Yeah.
season when they both joined.
Yeah.
So that just shows that how much I guess Pep struggles with strikers, which exactly
Yeah, that's
consolidates the point which Risha was
yeah.
pointing out.
Yeah.
So and obviously Pep left at 16-17 season, so Lewandowski only played I guess 2 seasons under him. So there's like very little
But
data to
still,
compare.
but you still look at his
that.
numbers. It's already like he was scoring close to the early 20 numbers when Pep was the manager. But as soon as he left, he moved to 30s. Every season you
Yeah.
look after that, he's scored more than 30.
Yeah, and
So
the
this
following
shows
season
that, right?
itself it was 42 goals and 6 assists, and
So
obviously
exactly.
And I think that it also goes that the Bayern Munich also they were just because they already had goal scorers in that, and Spurs never had those critical goal scorers. I mean, I don't
yeah.
see Lamina scoring 16 goals or
You just mentioned, man. You just mentioned Soldado. What do you call on?
Sold. I'm not even talking about
I
Soldado.
won't hear bad things
He
about
was
Soldado.
he
Took
he
to the
scored the
finals of
first
that.
3 goals in his debut, 3 penalties, and that was it.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. But then
Okay,
they
so
also
yeah,
had Chadley, right? They also had Chadley
So
when
just
he
a
was
heads
also
up, Denmark seems to be going into the knockout stages, and they are They will be
Yeah.
looking at ways
Just
to
a
the
quick
Premier
update
squad.
on that. I mean, Denmark has, I guess, progressed. Or not, I guess they have definitely progressed. They're winning 3-0 now, and it's a, it's a,
They are gonna win the Euros now.
yeah. I mean,
Uh, they,
Denmark
they,
is
they,
definitely playing with
Kind
a
can be
of.
lot of
the
grit.
they can be the next weirdest team. Like they haven't they lost the first two group games, won the third game, and now they're gonna win the championship. They're gonna
Okay,
pull a Portugal this
so
time.
let's end this let's end the discussion for today. I guess it was a very interesting conversation on what if series.
So
I
what was
definitely
the
want to
final verdict?
continue.
What was the final
the
verdict?
the final verdict is that Lewandowski would not be the same striker he was, and Kane would definitely be a better striker compared to what he is right now. But yeah, and anyway, I mean, there is never going to be a verdict on these kind of things.
Yeah,
It's
and also I think it's
wrong.
the verdict. If there is, I think it's gonna be same for a lot of international players who have never played in Premier League. I think we can, if we
Yeah,
talk
I
about
mean,
Messi, it is gonna open up a lot of.
I mean,
Uh,
it would definitely be
Discussions.
interesting to see a prime Messi in Premier League, obviously, and even a prime Ronaldo in Premier League, because we've never seen both of them in their primes
We
in
have
Premier League
seen
itself.
Prime Ronaldo in Premier League. We
No,
don't.
no,
No,
no.
yeah, I mean, you're
But
absolutely wrong on that aspect. I mean, being a United
we
fan, you can't
can
just say that
take it.
Ronaldo was at his prime.
Many,
Just
but
Man,
we
because you're a
can
United fan, you can't say
no,
this.
I
end it,
understand what
end
but
it,
we
I
can
understand what
end
you're
it.
understand
saying
that
But
because
yeah, I mean,
many.
I'm ending
We
this
can say
discussion.
that if
I'm not,
Ronaldo was still in Premier League, he
I'm
We are
would
not
not
still be
getting
talking
into
putting
that
about
out the
this.
numbers that he is with Real
I'm
Madrid.
We
not
are not
Maybe
I'm
talking
not
about
less,
getting
but
this.
into
still.
that discussion right now. I'm
We are
not
not
getting into
talking
that
about this.
discussion. This is
No.
done. So yeah, thanks to everyone who has joined for this discussion. Do let us know if you definitely want us to go into a Premier League start discussion between Ronaldo and Messi if they join Premier League with City and United. So we'd definitely like to get into that as well if you have. But thanks to all the viewers for joining. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on our social media handles. And leave a comment on what next topics would like to see us. Thank you and goodbye.
Peace.